Hello true crimers and spooky kids, I'm Kimber Bennis. Welcome back to my channel. The idea that an object could hold some sort of dark energy or magic is both interesting and frightening. Today I'm joined by my best friend Candace, and we're going to talk about the most cursed objects on Earth. Dolls can be creepy even when they're not haunted, but there are a select few that have wreaked havoc in people's lives. Of course, the most famous of these has to be Annabelle. This spooky toy was the inspiration for the doll featured in the Conjuring series and the spin-offs of her name. Annabelle is supposedly manipulated by inhuman spirits, but unlike the doll in the movies, the real-life Annabelle appears to be an ordinary Raggedy Ann doll. She was given to a 28-year-old nurse as a birthday gift in 1970. Soon she began to seemingly move on her own and show aggressive behavior, causing difficulty in breathing and leaving scratch marks on those who dared to come near her. Terrified, the owner of the doll contacted a medium and held a seance, but it became very clear that the spirit did not want to stay attached to the doll, but was instead looking for a human host. Ed and Lorraine Warren became interested in this case and contacted the woman. They took ownership of Annabelle, and she now resides in a locked box in their museum. There is a sign warning people not to touch the box for their own safety, and the Warrens even claim that once a man ignored the rule and got into a horrific accident on the way home as a result of getting too close to the doll.
Another very famous haunted doll is Robert. Robert originally belonged to an eccentric artist named Robert Eugene Otto from Key West, Florida. According to legend, Robert can move, change his facial expressions, and even giggle. Now housed in the Martello Museum, where guests are warned to respect him or else they fall victim to bad luck, Robert is known to cause accidents, including car crashes and broken bones, as well as divorces, job loss, and other misfortunes. He's known to not like having his picture taken without permission, and people who are fallen victim to his curse have been known to send letters of apology in hopes that their lives will someday return to normal.
Classic horror actor Bela Lugosi was famous for playing Dracula for many years, but did you know that he was also into the occult? Lugosi owned this beautiful mirror, in front of which he was known to perform rituals. Years after his death in his former home, a murder occurred, and the mirror was there to bear witness, allegedly absorbing the dark energy of this horrific event. The mirror is now considered haunted or cursed, with many feeling ill when they look into it. Some have claimed that it causes nightmares and that they felt scratches or a bite on the neck while looking into it. The mirror is now located in Zach Bagans' Haunted Museum in Las Vegas, Nevada.
The Myrtles Plantation is considered to be one of the most haunted houses in the U.S. It's home to 12 ghosts, plus one very haunted mirror. The mirror is supposedly haunted by Sarah Woodruff and her 2 children. At the time, it was believed that mirrors should be covered after a death, but when Sarah and her children died suddenly of poisoning, the mirror was somehow overlooked, trapping the spirits of the mother and 2 daughters. They are known to appear in photos and sometimes leave handprints behind.
The Hands Resist Him is a 1970 painting by Bill Stoneham with many spooky stories attached to it. Stoneham sold the painting at a gallery show, and within a year both the owner of the gallery and an art critic who had reviewed the painting died suddenly. Later on, when the owner of the painting died, it bounced around for years, eventually ending up on eBay. The sellers claimed that sometimes the characters in the painting would change position or even leave the canvas and enter the room. The post was accompanied by photos, which were there to serve as proof that this piece of art was haunted. The auction went viral, being viewed over 30,000 times.
The Anguished Man is a painting that was apparently painted with the artist's own blood shortly before their suicide. It's possibly the most cursed painting in the world if the rumors are true. Although the painting seemed to be for sale on eBay at one point, the owner claims that it is locked away in a safe place so it can do no more harm. The owners allegedly heard crying, moaning, and seen shadowy figures in the proximity of the strange and tragic piece of art.
The Crying Boy is a mass-produced print of a painting by the artist Giovanni Bergolin, and there are several variations of this work of art, all with the same urban legend connected to them. Many say that if you own this painting, your house will burn down. The legend stems from the fact that copies of the print were found in many burned down houses, somehow surviving the flames unscathed.
The woman from Lem statue, also known as the goddess of death, is carved completely from limestone. Found in Cyprus in 1878, it was created around 3500 BC and depicts an unknown fertility goddess. This item is one of the more destructive on the list, having systematically killed off entire families who own it within a few years. It completely wiped out 4 separate families at the time they possessed the strange figure, which is now housed at the Royal Scottish Museum in Edinburgh, Scotland, under glass. Incidentally, the curator who handled the item also died within 1 year of touching it.
This next object was so destructive, the legend says it is now buried in a lead coffin, never to be found again. The Bassano vase was a beautiful artifact from 15th century Italy, carved completely out of silver. The beauty of this precious item caused it to pass quickly from one person to another, each dying within months of gaining ownership. It's said that the vase was made as a wedding gift for a bride, but on her wedding night she died with the vase in her hands. It was then passed from family member to family member until they eventually decided to bury it with a note that says, "This vase brings death." It was rediscovered in 1988 and continued its killing spree until it was once again buried and hidden.
The Hope Diamond's history is so long, it could be its own video, so I'm going to keep it short. The stunning blue gem weighs almost 46 carats and is roughly the size of a walnut. Many people who have come in contact with the gem have met treacherous ends, including being mauled by dogs, losing their children at a young age, losing every dime they have, and suicide. Even the deaths of Louis XIV and Marie Antoinette are attributed to this insidious curse.
The Koh-i-Noor diamond is considered one of the unluckiest stones in the world. It is said that he who owns the diamond will own the world, but will also know all of its misfortunes. The stories of people who once owned the massive 105-carat stone and their descendants who ended up inheriting the jewel usually ended in torture, murder, mutilation, treachery, and the collapse of their dynasties. It is said that only women can wear it with impunity. The stone has been used in crowns for the British monarchy, but even Queen Elizabeth II seems to fear the curse.
The Delhi purple sapphire is actually a misidentified amethyst. This stone has caused financial stress, suicide, and even caused a singer to lose her voice completely. People tried to get rid of the stone by throwing it into a river, but it was found, recognized, and handed back to the owner. He then put it in a box that was not to be opened until after his death. The stone is now on display at the Natural History Museum.
Belcourt Castle in Newport, Rhode Island is the home of 2 haunted chairs. It's said that sitting in these chairs can cause you to feel cold, uneasy, or sick. A few people even report being forcefully ejected from the seats. Others claim that they've had the sensation that they're sitting on someone's lap, or the feeling of static electricity upon sitting on this furniture. But that's nothing compared to the next chair on this list.
Busby's stoop chair, also known as the dead man's chair, is an old oak piece of furniture that belonged to the murderer, Thomas Busby. It's said that before his execution, he cursed anyone who may sit upon it. So many people have died as a result of sitting on it, they eventually hung it from the ceiling of the Thirsk Museum just to prevent any more deaths at the hands of this bloodthirsty seat.
James Dean's Porsche 550 Spider not only took his life, but harmed many others, leading people to believe that it may be cursed. Known as Little Bastard, the car was fully customized by Dean. When he showed his friend Alec Guinness the finished product, he said that it had a sinister appearance, and stated, "If you get in that car, you'll be found dead in it by this time next week." Unfortunately, his words were prophetic, and Dean did die in the car, but it didn't stop there. The man who customized the car bought it, and when they tried to harvest it for parts, it slipped and crushed a mechanic's legs. Troy McHenry bought the engine and put it in his vehicle. While racing with a friend, he lost control and hit a tree. He did not survive. A car with the tires from Little Bastard had both explode while on the road, and 2 thieves were injured while trying to steal the steering wheel and seat. Finally, while on display at a school, the car fell and broke a nearby student's hip.
The Dybbuk box is an item that's said to house an evil spirit. It served as inspiration for the 2012 film, The Possession. First appearing on eBay, accompanied by a story from the seller, the box is reportedly known to cause nightmares of an old hag, the smell of cat urine, and loss of hair. It's now on display at Zach Bagans' Haunted Museum.
Anna Baker was a wealthy woman who fell in love with one of her father's laborers. She even bought the perfect dress with the intent to marry him. Upon her father forbidding the union, she swore to never marry. She went through with her promise, but after her death in 1914, the dress began to act strangely. Displayed behind glass at the Baker Mansion in Altoona, Pennsylvania, the dress is known to move as if someone is wearing it. It's also known to shake the glass so hard that it almost shatters the display.
The Maori are ancient warriors from New Zealand. They would carve intricate masks to wear in battle, and it's said that if a warrior died in the mask, their spirit would remain trapped inside. Some of these masks are now displayed in a museum in Wellington, New Zealand, but the display is often off limits to pregnant women. This is done out of fear that they may be cursed or miscarry if they come in contact with them. The curse doesn't seem to affect anyone else.
Our last object is known as the Screaming Skull of Burton Agnes Hall. Located in East Yorkshire, this Elizabethan manor would be creepy even without the story associated with it. The manor was once the home of a girl named Anne Griffith. One day she was attacked by thieves in a park and sustained a head injury. Knowing her end was near, she asked her sisters for one last thing. After she died, she wanted them to remove her head and keep her skull in the house, saying, "Never shall I sleep peacefully in my grave in the churchyard unless I, or a part of me at least, remains here in our beautiful home as long as it lasts." Her sisters initially refused her strange request, but after the house was plagued with ghostly moans and other hauntings, the sisters eventually held up their end of the deal. They dug up her body and put her skull back into the house, restoring peace. Once, a maid tried to get rid of the skull by throwing it into the back of a cart, but when she did this, the horse refused to move an inch, and she was forced to take it back into the house. Later on, another owner of the manor attempted to bury the skull, but was once again haunted by strange noises and moans. The haunting stopped when the skull was once again restored. I hope you enjoyed this look at cursed objects. Let me know if I missed anything in the comments. Thank you, Candace, for joining me. If you want to tweet her, you can reach her at @thatcandacegirl or me at kimberbatch_OSP. Thanks so much for watching. If you liked what you saw, please leave a thumbs up and consider subscribing. As of today, I'm happy to announce that I just launched my Patreon. Check out the link in the description for details on exclusive tiers. For just $1 a month, you can help make this channel even spookier.